Well, hello there, and welcome to another beautiful night for an adventure. We are once again at the grounds of the Minnesota Renaissance Festival. We were here one other time this year for the Feast of Fantasy, and boy was that ever fun. There will be a link to that adventure in the description below. But this time, we're coming during the evening for a little bit of something different. This is called Phantom Feast. They run it for Halloween, and it is cool. I have never done it before, but from what I understand, these grounds here at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival are legit haunted. They've had paranormal teams and investigators out here, and there's all sorts of stories. So we're going to hear about some of those stories, some of the history of what goes on around here on the paranormal level. While enjoying a nice, wonderful meal at the same time. If you are brand new to this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on a thing. Welcome to another edition of Tommy Travels. It's Tommy Travels. This should be fun, you guys, so come on with me. Let's go see what there is to see. And this is where we enter into the grounds, and when it actually is the Renaissance Festival going on, you are immediately greeted by the smell of cinnamon rolls and cookies, just to get your hunger, appetite flowing. And we are greeted by a nice welcoming sign that says, "Welcome Feast Guests." And our adventure is going to be right down this path. So last time when we did the Feast of Fantasy, we were right out here. There was a big tent, and everything took place right in this outside area. And we did not get to experience the joy of the interior of Bad Manor. This place is cool, and it's going to be fun to actually do the event inside here tonight. And so I've never been at the Renaissance quite this late before. And my gosh, all of the little buildings and cute little shops look so pretty, glimmering in the sunset. What a beautiful, beautiful night. It was just snowing a week ago, and today it is absolutely wonderful. So there's where we entered in, and welcome to the interior, the spooky interior of the Bad Manor. And this is our table right here, and look at this. I get a commemorative mug to put on top of my fridge, just like the other one. This is gonna be fun. And so, here is our first course of the evening, a delicious looking soup. So as it turns out, we are not gonna be able to film during the actual course of the show, but the person who is gonna be telling all the stories is going to come and meet with me for a little bit. I will get in a little interview with him, and then also we're going to have a ghost walk later, and I can film during that. So this is still going to be an exciting evening, and it works out good too because I'm kind of far away to be able to get a good shot of him sitting in the chair and telling the stories and things like that. So this works out just perfect. So as it turns out, we're near the back of the room. Here we are in front. This is where somebody is going to be telling some very ghostly stories. And I love the way this place is set up with all the cobwebs hanging everywhere. Gives a very creepy, spooky vibe to this place. And here is some sweet potatoes and vegetables and some brisket. This looks quite amazing, and it's chilly in here, so it's gonna warm me right up. And so if this gentleman looks familiar to you, you've seen him in our previous adventure, Feast of Fantasy, and he's here to have us help us have a great time here today. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
Very, very well.
I hope you'll enjoy the Phantom's Feast. A little different than Feast of Fantasy, which has a lot more, I don't know, drinking, table pounding. This is more table rapping by the spirits.
Oh boy. So I understand these Renaissance grounds are very haunted.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Lots of ghosts, even in this building, Bad Manor, where we do the Feast of Fantasy during a normal year. This year, we, of course, were in a tent, but normal years, this is the home of the Feast of Fantasy, and it's been the home of the Phantom's Feast for years as well. I started hosting this in 2012. Is that right? I think so. But yeah, we've had psychics come in here and paranormal investigators come in here and identify 3 different spirits that kind of are locked into this building.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you'll hear more about it
Wow.
during tonight's show.
That sounds awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll see more of you in a little bit, and we're going to be doing a ghost walk later,
Yeah,
I
we'll walk
understand.
around the site afterwards with a paranormal investigator.
Oh.
We'll visit a couple, 3 sites on the festival grounds that have a lot of paranormal activity, and we'll see what we shall see.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Enjoy the show.
Thank you. And finally, we have our dessert. Some good old cake and ice cream. And that looks unbelievably delicious. And so we are now all done with the dinner and the show, and it was fantastic. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's like a one-man play with audience interaction. And now, to top it all off, we get to go on a ghost hunt. This is a kind of adventure I've never done, so this should be so fun.
But I'm so thrilled to welcome a very good friend of mine, ladies and gentlemen. He is, we've been friends since 1984, I think, a long time. He is our entertainment and artistic director here at the festival now. He's a teacher, he is an educator, he is a juggler, and he's a paranormal investigator. Say hello to my friend Dave Williams. We all call him Fudd. Fudd! How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks very much.
Good. We've got a nearly full moon out there.
Isn't that great?
So yeah, what I really encourage you to do is turn your phone off and just be an analog human being out there, perceptive to whatever spirits might be around this site. I have also been on this site at all times of the day and night, and there are times when you kind of know what's going on. Can I tell one really quick story?
Yeah.
Last year, Jim and I were here, and I sat through the show, and then he had some other people come, a psychic come, and afterwards we came in here, and there were maybe 6 of us sitting around. And Jim and I were sitting next to each other, and we were just having a conversation, and the psychic stopped and said, "Stop. There's an energy right between the 2 of you. Do you know anybody that you both know who would be close to you?" And we kind of said, "Yeah." "Well, who is it?" And simultaneously we said, "Lee Walker." And she said, "Yeah." And then I asked an interesting question. I said, "Is he smoking?" And she said, "I think he might be." And I said, "Well, yep, that's Lee." Lee Walker was our entertainment director here back in the 70s and early 80s, and he was a very close friend of both of ours. And we just feel him around here all the time. He's kind of with us. So let's go out and see what we can find, but trust yourself to be open to those perceptions, to feel and see and hear.
Okay, so let me say how this will happen. We're going to go down the ramp, folks, and you're going to go through the courtyard where the tent is.
I'll go out there with a
Yeah,
flashlight.
you follow Fudd. I'm going to grab my coat and my pipe, and I will meet you in the back right here, and we will take our walk. In the early 90s, our campground, where performers stay on Friday and Saturday night when the festival is in action, is down over this hill in a valley behind the site. And in that campground, there were some young pagans, inexperienced but enthusiastic, and they had a book of summonings. And they cast a circle and called up something that scared them badly. And they broke the circle, which is something you're not supposed to do, which allowed the whatever it was they had summoned out of the circle as well. They ran to the campground director, Jacques, who is also a pagan. He grabbed a couple of other pagans, more experienced, and they tried to send this thing back to wherever it came from, but it wouldn't go. And it fled up here onto the site, and they chased it, and they weren't able to banish it, even though they joined their powers together. But what they did do was trap it up there above us on the second level of this building. Many people have seen something up there, a cloaked figure. People have seen glowing red eyes up there. Perhaps the most famous story, we had a security guard walking his nightly rounds about 2 a.m. You can see where my light is pointing. He was about there when he saw somebody up there. And we're not supposed to be on the grounds after 10 at night. And so he yelled, "Hey, come on down. If you come down, you can go back down to the campground. I won't report you, but if I have to come up there, then there'll be trouble." No response. So he went back here, climbed up this step ladder, up onto the second level. Nobody up there. He turned to leave, heard footsteps, turned back around, and suddenly the footsteps were running right at him. He felt something go right through him. He had a bottle of patchouli in his pocket, as all good Renaissance Festival performers do. And that shattered, and it scared him pretty bad. He beat it out of here, and that's the story that we all tell, in addition to the fact that some people have seen that sort of cloaked figure up there on the second level. So I will now just sort of get...
Uh-oh.
Geez.
You want to go up?
Not at all.
Me too, neither.
But many of the shops are independently owned, as is this Irish cottage. It's owned by a family. Did I lose my light? There it is. It's owned by a family, and it was actually a cottage in Ireland that was there for hundreds of years. They took apart the beams that you would see on the inside. They shipped them across. They rebuilt it here, plastered it. And it's a nice, different kind of experience than most of the festival, which a lot of us are sort of in your face, yelling at you a lot. And this is a very quiet experience. It's like living history. You can go in there and they have animals back in here. They are cooking dinner in there. They are spinning yarn from the wool of the sheeps that they keep out here. You can talk with them about life in Ireland during the Renaissance. But many people have had ghostly encounters here as well. The ghost of a little boy dressed in kind of Irish gear. Also, there's talk of, because the wood and the structure itself was originally constructed in Ireland, there's talk of pukas and fairies that may have come along with this cottage when it was being shipped over because of their affinity to it. It's a pretty cool, interesting structure.
Sounds like somebody was cooking right now. That's the most.
Heard a little clanking in there.
That's probably the hearth bell.
I bet that's what that was. There's a cowbell over the fireplace in there that has been there since the get-go.
There's clearly a sort of a Celtic presence here,
Yeah.
and it's young, childlike. And are any of you familiar with the phrase "knock on wood"?
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from the spirits that are ingrained in the wood. And I think that whatever the energy is that's here at the Celtic cottage, the Irish cottage, came right along with the wood.
That is the speculation.
And there's a little confusion about this one.
This story that I'll tell here, even though it happened down at the Gypsy stage, or what we now call Sherwood Forest, to a performing group called Fandazi. They're fire eaters and dancers. And as I mentioned, over there at the pavilion, you're not supposed to be on the festival grounds after 10 o'clock at night. You're supposed to be either home or in the campground. And it was a cold night like this, and these two, Teresa and her husband, had just had a baby. The baby was 6 months old, and they had brought him out for the weekend. And they decided that they would stay in the wagon, the Vardo wagon, on stage because there was a good heater in there. And they didn't want to take the baby down to their tent where it was very cold. So they started the heater, went to bed, and about 3 in the morning they woke up to what sounded like either a music box, Teresa said, or a penny whistle that went all the way around the wagon and then down into the fairy wing forest and then back up and around one more time. And she said, you know, we stood there and listened to this thinking it can't be a fellow performer because they would get in so much trouble if it was. And she said, we just kind of believe in our hearts that it was the fairies of this site welcoming our son by going around the Vardo. But my husband and I looked at each other, and for love or money, there was no way we would have walked outside the wagon at that moment. We just knew it wasn't safe out there for us. With leaves, and you never ever really see that face, but it's been there, keeping an eye out on our festival for 50 years. Many of us think of it as the guardian, tip our hat as we walk by. And I'm going to take you next to the bakery stage. And up behind the bakery stage is Cannon Hill, where we fire off the cannon to open and close our festival day. And there's an enormous mulberry bush up there. And many people believe that the guardian of the festival lives in that mulberry bush. They have met him, they have seen him. He is a Native American chief. They describe him with a buffalo headdress. And I don't know if there is a connection between this guardian here and the actual guardian, but more and more of us are coming to view this as a representation in some way or form of the guardian that is up there on the hill. So it's kind of fun to see this. Even if you're out at festival on a regular basis, you may never have seen this before because the leaves cover it during the summer, and now those are gone. So he has got a clear look of our grounds.
The bakery stage.
First started here, there was a pretty strong connection between the Twin Cities theater community and the Renaissance Festival. The Guthrie had a presence out here, as did some of the other theaters, including the Children's Theater, who built this stage, the bakery. It was a working bakery. I'm shining my light on the oven now. They used to bake bread there. There's a cauldron here where they would make soup. There were many, many great shows over the years that have been on this stage. Brother Paul, Arsene performed on this stage. Fudd himself used to juggle on this stage. My Little Company worked on this stage. It's now the home of the Danger Committee, which if you haven't seen them, boy, you got to come to the festival just for that. They're fantastic, and this is their stage. But we think because of its proximity to that mulberry bush, which is up there, that's why this is such an active site. We've gotten all kinds of spirit box voices here while we've ghost hunted in the past. And if you look around, these are all oak trees encircling this stage. So we are essentially in the middle of an oak grove here, which, if you know your history, was very popular with the Druids. So I don't know, or I can't speculate as to why this is such an active site, but every time we use a spirit box out here, we hear voices speaking to us. One of them called me a jackass. which I kind of like, actually. I was kind of tickled by that. A performance on Halloween, and we don't always get a chance to do that because often it doesn't fall on a day that's conducive to bringing people out here, like a Monday or a Tuesday. It falls on a Saturday this year, which is great. It also happens to fall on a night of a second full moon, a blue moon in October, and it's the night we fall back. We turn the clocks back. So it's a really fun night to have a show. About 5 years ago, it also fell on a Saturday, and we did 2 shows that night at 7 and 9, and the ghost hunt took place after that 9 o'clock show. At like 11 o'clock, we started walking. And it was going so well. Scotty Roberts and Rocky Stucci were with us. They were our paranormal investigators. We went to the sites we've went to tonight, but it was going so well. We were getting so much action that we decided, let's go down to the legend stage. So we marched the audience down to the legend stage, which is way down there, as far down as you can go on the site. And it's the home of Puke and Snot. And the actor who played Snot, the original guy who created that role, passed away 11 years ago, Joe Kudla. And we were standing on that stage at about midnight on Halloween. And Rocky said into the spirit box, hey, if there's anybody here who knows anybody that's in the audience or with us tonight, let us hear from you. We're here. Use the spirit box. Let us hear from you. And he stopped talking, and the spirit box said, as clear as a bell so everybody could hear it, hey, Jimmy. It was just that clear. Now, whether it was Joe or perhaps our good friend Lee Walker, who was also passed a few years before that, was here visiting, I don't know. But I was sure tickled by that. And even now, I get a kind of a goosebumpy just telling that story. And we lost a great performer this past summer named Brian Murphy, who started here years and years ago. He was a hawker. He was Master Shakespeare. He was Falstaff. He was a riddle master. He hasn't been out in a few years because his health was bad, and he actually passed away this summer. And I hope against hope that before Halloween is over here and the show is closed, that we'll get some sort of connection with Brian, because I'm pretty sure he's here somewhere. You know, it's been a crazy year for people, myself included, and I know all of you, as we kind of make our way through this pandemic. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming out tonight and celebrating Halloween with us here at the festival, sharing some of your time and your hard-earned money with us. We're grateful for that, especially this year, but always. And I thank you, really, honestly. And I wish you all a good night and a very happy Halloween. Thanks for coming. I hope I see you again.
Thank you. That was great. Oh my gosh, you guys. I was just going to do the closing shot here. There's coyotes going on in the background somewhere out there. Oh, I don't know. That could be music. But one more look at the Bad Manor as we close things out tonight. A very creepy ending to the show. That was awesome. This has been so fun. Just the show itself was completely worth it. If you have never done the Phantom's Feast before, you definitely should check it out. Never thought I'd be looking at the Bad Manor here on the Renaissance Festival grounds this late at night, but here I am. And if you guys liked what you saw here today, go ahead and hit like on my YouTube channel. While you're at it, go ahead and hit subscribe and the little bell notification next to it so you can be the first to know when a new adventure comes out. Thank you guys all so much for all of the support that you've given me so far. And until next time, from the Bad Manor, I hope to catch you on the flip side. I just got back to my car And those coyotes, they were actually real coyotes. There was not a speaker. If you listen closely, you might be able to hear them in the background. They were just going really, really loud. I'm a little freaked out now. It's time to get out of here.